Good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Hodges, and I am changing it up. I swear, one of these days I will make a video where everything's all done and it's nice and edited. But in the meantime, you're going to get me in the mornings whenever I'm either doing my morning walk or about to slap on some makeup. So I was chit-chatting with one of my friends, talking about like what are some ideas that I might have for for some of these videos. And she gave me a great idea. So shout out to Melissa. I want to talk a little bit about it today about how to fit into your fall jeans. Football weather's coming up. What are we going to do about it? And as you can also see, I realize that I'm 46, but I have this great big thing on my face. So I'm like, oh my God, what is that? A little FYI, this is the best concealer. I love it. It's Tarte Tape. Oh, it's so good. Anyway, so, you know, it is not uncommon whenever I have patients that will ask me questions, like they'll tell me that they're in a little bit of a plateau or what can they do to kind of get things kick-started. And, you know, sometimes if you've just gone on vacation or if the holidays have passed and you've just kind of had a good time, and let's say you've gained like that, just a couple of pounds. I'm not talking about 30, 40 pounds. I'm talking about you have that fluctuation, that 5, 10 pounds. What can you do so that you can start looking really good in those jeans? And, you know, one of the first things I always talk about is you need to know the numbers. You have to, if you really kind of want to be scientific about this and get the most out of your diet and exercise plan. So I will send you a little like link to a BMR calculator. So first thing you need to know is you got to know your metabolism. You have to know because if you want to lose some weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. So once you find that, the next thing you need to do is always make sure you're in a calorie deficit. So for instance, let's say you find that your BMR is 1500. That means you maintain your weight at 1500 calories. That means that you need to net on any given day to lose a pound a week. You need to net about 1,000 calories. Now, how can you net 1,000 calories? Meaning, how can you get into a 500 calorie deficit? You can do that within a combination of exercise and diet. So you can choose to eat 250 calories less on any given day and then add in some exercise. You could try to exercise, keep your calories at 1,500, and then do an exercise that burns 500 calories, or you can just be in a 500 calorie deficit. Now, the interesting thing is that the lower your BMR, i.e. the slower your metabolism, the less that your diet is going to be able to give you a really, really deep deficit. Because I would never tell anybody, ooh, you still see that thing right there. I would never tell anybody to do less than 1,000 calories a day. So for instance, my BMR is 1,087. I get the award for having a nice, crappy, slow metabolism. Thank you to my ancestors for crappy genes. And so what do I have to do? I keep my calories at 1,000 because I want to be in some sort of calorie deficit. But for me to make any appreciable change, I have to do some form of exercise. So step 1 to getting into your jeans, you need to find your BMR. Step 2, you need to kind of figure out a plan for a good, how can you get into a calorie deficit? Number 3, you got to start logging those calories. It is a pain in the butt. I realize that. But if you want to really lose some weight, you're going to have to put in the work. And so whether you're doing surgical weight loss or you're doing medical weight loss, you have to do the work. It's not just going to come off all on its own. And so I really encourage you to read your labels. There is a really good food log that I like. There's one that's called Berry-tastic. It is fantastic. And there's another one that is called MyFitnessPal. Now, I like MyFitnessPal because I can have it linked to my Strava, which is my walking app. And so it will calculate the number of calories that I've burned. I have found that since I'm short, that just counting steps isn't a really accurate measure of really how far I'm going, because I just don't have that big of a stride. So I could do 5,000 steps, but that might not give me the distance that I really want, just because I have a little short stride. And then also everybody kind of walks at a different rate and a different pace. And so you got to download a food app. You got to log your food. That's huge, because there's going to be somewhere in your day that calories are maybe being added that you're not thinking about. So is it in your morning coffee? Like, are you maybe not measuring out? Like, maybe you look at your coffee creamer. Like, I like the fat-free French vanilla. Whenever I'm really looking at my my calories and studying it hard, like, I will measure it out. I'll just use the same, like, I use a little scooper, a special scooper to make my coffee. So I'll also use a special scooper to measure out the creamer that I'm using. So I know exactly how many calories are going into my coffee. So are you making really high calorie coffee? Are you making, ooh, I got a little thing. Are you, maybe it's in the sauces that you're putting on your food. Maybe when you're having your midday snack, instead of doing something that's a little lower calorie, maybe you're just snacking on nuts all day. All a nut is fat. And so it's going to have a lot of calories. Any fat is going to have twice the amount of calories per weight when you compare it to a carbohydrate or to a protein. And so it's not that there's anything inherently wrong with a nut. It's just that they're really high in calorie. That's why if you get those little packs of almonds that are 100 calories, there's like 10. 10 is not going to do anything for you. I mean, it might taste a little good. I mean, it tastes good. But I mean, if you want a snack, you want a snack, not 2 mouthfuls of something. So that's whenever logging your food really, really makes a difference. I really encourage you also, watch out for your artificial sweetener intake. I just did a little, I have one video out there that's talking about artificial sweeteners and carbohydrates, and it's really interesting. Artificial sweeteners can certainly increase your cravings for different sweets. And so even if you think that you're doing the right thing by trying to watch your calories and use an artificial sweetener that's low in calories or no calories, you may, without knowing it, be also increasing your cravings for sweets and other higher calorie carbohydrates. So it's like a little sneak attack that's going on. And I certainly will have more cravings throughout the day, which makes it more difficult. And I even take medicine whenever I'm drinking sodas with artificial sweeteners. So even though I love my Diet Cokes, I'm really trying to work hard about not doing those throughout the day and instead doing water. If you are going to use an artificial sweetener, I really recommend that you try to do a natural artificial sweetener, I really recommend that you do like a more natural sweetener. So for instance, you can do monk fruit, or you can do agave syrup. I really like agave. So that is a low glycemic index carb, and it's a low glycemic index carb, and you're not going to have a big bump in your sugar, and it tastes good. So it'll sweeten your coffee or be served for your pancakes or whatever it is that you want to do. Or I like to use it in my oatmeal. And then finally, I would say you need to really aim for 64 ounces of water a day. If you don't get there, that's okay. But drinking throughout the day will help keep you hydrated. It's good for your skin. But then also, oftentimes, whenever you have cravings, it's not necessarily that you're hungry. It's really that you're thirsty. And I have definitely found that to be true. And so aim for 64 ounces. If you want to put some flavoring in it, that's great. Again, watch out for those artificial sweeteners. You don't want to cut off your nose to spite your face. So Try to make sure that maybe you can flavor your water with maybe a squirt of lime or a squirt of lemon. That might be a little bit better than loading it with some different flavorings that have a bunch of artificial sweeteners. Because again, you don't want to end up having more cravings down the road. And then finally, you have to incorporate some form of movement into your day. The goal is at least 150 minutes a week. And so you can do that in the lowest amount of time would be a 10-minute block. So get out there and walk. 1 mile is 100 calories. I just walked 4. And so that got me pretty close to my 500 calorie deficit for the day. Yay, provided that I stay on cue. I'm going to be logging my food and keeping my calories at 1,000. So what is our goal? Our goal is to get into our nice jeans. How do we get there? You need to know your BMR. You got to maintain a calorie deficit. You do that by getting your food log, watching your snacking. You have to log everything that you eat. You need to add in some exercise, and you need to drink your water. I think if you just start off with those few things, that will get you well on your way to some nice little pants. Okay? Hope that this helped. Bye.